Today I'm in Miami and I'm going to visit Saul. He was born in Hungary into a very religious family. Hi, Saul.
Hello.
How are you? I told you I was going to come with something.
Okay.
I baked a babka for you.
Oh my God.
Chocolate babka.
Okay.
So I figured if my kids love it, you may like it.
I'm sure you're gonna like it.
Where do you want me to put this?
Any place in the kitchen, yeah.
In the kitchen?
Yeah.
It's here?
This is my late wife. I just lost her.
I'm sorry.
That's
It was last year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my first wife. My wedding. And that's my two sons. I was born in Hungary in a very rural little town, no more than 3,000 people, 55 Jewish families.
Wow.
In a Hasidic family. I had long period and very Hasidic way of life till we were taken away. So I was a rebel type of a kid. I was not happy with the Hasidic way of life as a child.
Can I jump right in?
Yes.
And I feel terrible asking you, but I see it's fading away.
Listen, it's a lot of years.
How many years did you get it? How long ago?
As soon as I got to Auschwitz.
So what, 45?
44. And I was between the first transport from Hungary, the third or fourth transport Hungary. That's why it's such a low number, 3913. That was, we had no name, only had the number.
You look so young. What is your secret? How old are you, first of all?
92.
But even your skin is amazing.
Yeah, but here you could see the age.
Okay.
Hungary is allied with Nazi Germany. Saul's parents are grocers, and until 1944, daily life remains fairly normal, despite the constant anti-Semitism.
We were in the schoolyard, was not bad. And the kids with our classmates, they were, we sort of got along. But the teachers were very anti-Semitic. They are the ones that teach anti-Semitism. They wouldn't even call us by the first name. They used to call us Jew boy or Jew girl. Yes, the teachers were very anti-Semitic.
In April 1944, the Germans invade Poland. Jews are rounded up into ghettos. Then the deportations begin at a relentless pace.
It was the last day of Passover. 5 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, they were knocking on the window.
On the window?
Yes. Neighbor, get up, because by 10 o'clock in the morning, you have to be at the schoolyard. And if you're not going to show up there, the gendarme, because there are no police, there's gendarmes, will come and get you. And all the Jews from the village were gathered. So they transferred us to a brick factory. The brick factory had a roof with some pillars, no walls.
So how many families in there?
50, 60, 70 families to it. The people were trying to hang up sheets to have some privacy. Families should have some terrible conditions, very little food. And we spent about 3 weeks there. And one morning they announced, get up, give up all your personal belongings, mainly meant jewelry or money, that's what they were after. And they announced that they're marching us to the railroad station. And they loaded us into a cattle car, maybe 90 to 95 people to each cattle car. Women, children, babies, elderly. There was no families, of course, they want to be together.
So you were all smushed in there?
And they gave a bucket of water and a bucket for waste. And as soon as the train started moving, the bucket fell over, it was spilled, so we had no water. We were on that train for 2.5 days.
We're mentioning that you recall still to this day the sound of the cattle car when it closed.
And has that latch that closes. A horrible, horrible sound.
You were in the cattle car for 2.5 days.
2.5 days.
No food, no
food,
water.
No water.
You couldn't even sit, or you?
No, we couldn't sit. They had some elderly people, they made some room to sit down, or they collapsed or whatever it was. It was very frightening at night. It was sidetracked, dark, and they were shooting. And then, of course, we arrived to Auschwitz. We, as a 13-year-old, jumped off the train because it's very high, you know. But elderly people or ladies or with children, they couldn't do it. They just shoved them off. And on the microphone, they were yelling, able men, one line, women and children, the other line. And we find ourselves there, you know, a lot of people, chaotic, yelling. As we lined up, my father was between the able men, and I'm with my younger sister, my mother, my older sister, and myself. We're standing with the women and children. As we were standing in line, a man who worked on the railroad, he came over to us, to my mother. He says, listen, let him go to the man's line. If somebody is going to ask him how old he is, he should say that he's 18 years old and he's ready to go to work. And more that the guy is talking to my mom. My mom is holding my hand stronger and stronger. But I was already conditioned for that, you know, anti-Semitic. I was older than 13 years old as far as that was concerned.
You mean your maturity?
Maturity, when it came to that, you know, survival, whatever, instinct. I says, Mom, he knows what he's talking about. He works here. Let me go back to my father. So I want to go back to my father. But the line was moving already. I didn't find my father. And I never saw him anymore. I never saw him.
You never saw your dad?
I never saw my dad anymore.
And never saw your mom?
My mom and my sister never saw them anymore. The line was moving. We got to a location where the selection was. And they asked me how old I am. I was afraid to say 18. I said 16. So they told me to go. I didn't know where I'm going. So we got again to a central location where they took away our clothes. They pumped that disinfecting powder, and they cut our hair. And the only thing they left our shoes. We could keep our shoes. At that much we understood that besides the Gestapo doesn't want just to kill you, they want to dehumanize you before they kill you. And for the evening, they put us into this empty barrack. So I was asking, where is my father? From people that knew me, and we were only 2 kids between the 600 or 700 people. The guy who's in charge, the blocker, he took us by the hand to the door, and he was pointing to the chimney. And he says, you see that flame? You don't have any more parents. They were gassed and cremated within 2 hours' time from the time they arrived. So you have nobody anymore. And from now on, you should, only thing you have in mind to try to survive.
Saul is sent with all the youngest ones to a coal factory that is part of the Bunamonovitz industrial complex.
It was a lucky break. First of all, we were indoors, and it was warm. We had very little interaction with any SS guards. We were in fairly decent condition.
Decent, yeah.
Decent condition. And our bunks were not that bad. We had blankets, we had, you know. And the routine was, as long as you went to work, you were not sick. So, you know, you were a robot, you know, that sort of thing.
Did you ever try to escape?
No way. There were escapes maybe 2 or 3 times in that period. And that time, they brought us back from our regular work, from our shift, to watch the hangings.
Of those who tried to escape?
Yes, which was horrible, horrible.
He works there like a slave from mid-May 1944 to January 1945.
By the middle of the summer 1945, we saw the Allied British and American bombers every day, bombing all the surrounding factories. And January 17, they announced we're marching, that we're leaving the camp. So that's where the death marches started. Anybody that could not march, anybody that stepped out of line was eliminated on the spot, on the side of the road.
After 3 days of marching, they arrive at the Buchenwald camp.
And we had to go to disinfection. We heard disinfection again and shower. And we thought that's going to be the end.
You remember that? You remember entering the
Yes.
shower thinking...
No, but before we said goodbye to each other.
So you
And
hugged your friends
it was pretty poor condition by that time. With not eating for 8 days, so approximately 7, besides the snow. And
So you hugged your friends. You thought, that's it.
yeah, and we had to undress and we had to go into the shower. And to our amazement, hot water came. It was a real shower. So we came alive. But the conditions were horrible. A lot of sickness. People were dying, and they got into the camp in a very, very run-down condition. Bad condition already. So we got a lucky break again. A week later, they came and they separated us, the youngest ones, and they took us to the main camp, to Barrack 8, which was a dummy showcase for the Danish Red Cross.
You were here to show that you're well treated.
It was a quarantine with barbed wire around it. We didn't have to go to the main head count in the morning. Our blankets were excellent. Just to show up to the Red Cross, sort of.
Survivors, when I see them, I say, what do you think? How do you think you made it out?
No answer. Luck or whatever. Have to be the right place in the right time. That's it. I'm no hero. I had
You were
lucky
lucky.
breaks.
You were
I'm
lucky.
I'm telling you. I was a robot. I was not following whatever it fell in my way. First of all, the first day, the first 2 days, the American army showered us with Hershey. You see the Hershey?
Yeah.
I still love, they had the American rations, the daily rations, American, was a 3-inch long Hershey bar, a thick Hershey bar.
Uh-huh. So these already, they already existed
no,
by
no,
then?
not, yeah, but
No,
they were.
it was the same.
Yeah. So till today, I love the Hershey's.
Because it's very good memory for you.
Yes, they were fantastic.
Saul returns to Hungary, hoping to find someone. By some miracle, his sister and brother have survived. He lives with his sister for 3 years, then leaves for Israel and later the United States.
So you are now telling your stories to the young generation.
I do it because unfortunately, I would have never believed that anti-Semitism will raise its ugly head in my lifetime the way it is happening now. So I am there to tell them. I have the number on my arm. I was there. I was close to the fire. I was close to the gas, and it's not a story. It's actually it happened. I'm a witness still to today. They should really learn about the past, and not just because of the Jews, because it starts with the Jews. It never ends with the Jews.
It wasn't too hard for you to talk about it?
No, it was hard, but it's for a good cause and a good purpose. And I wish you success and show the movie to a lot of young people that they learn from the past. They shouldn't repeat the same mistakes.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Saul. Thank you for
Love
everything.
to you, friend.
Will do, and be well.
Yeah. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.